How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining Marriage Grind. My name is BW, the Marriage Guy. Last week, we had Mario Singelmann from Get Gang Group. He was here last week talking specifically about how singles can prepare themselves for a relationship. We did part one last week. Today, we're doing part two. We're going to go ahead and dial back into the second part of the interview. I hope you pick up something from this interview. I'll see you right afterwards. I like how you brought up the parking spaces.
Yeah, man, you gotta have parking spots available for whatever else you want to put in. That's better. It's like don't leave this parking spot filled with this jalopy that is broken down, is just taking up space, and you might have room for that Ferrari, or you could have room for that Ferrari that's just waiting, but it's like, nah, we're gonna keep on going because there's this lot is all full.
Right. So. And then you mentioned also about attraction. Sure. You brought up attraction a minute ago.
Okay.
You describe what attraction is.
Okay. Attraction. Well, let's go with what most people just commonly associate attraction with. Desire. Something that you want to bring closer. Like magnets. That issue of polarity. Opposites attract, wanting to bring together. I think attraction is a little bit deeper than that as for what we're talking about. So I would say, what is the cause of the attraction is really what we're asking. The cause of attraction, of desiring to be closer to somebody, or wanting somebody, or wanting something, is because you enjoy how they make you feel. All right, so let's apply this to someone that you've never met, but you're fawning over just visually, or for women, maybe they said something, because women are less superficial as guys. So maybe they see somebody who's like really eloquent and is speaking, or he's doing something really ultimate. Right. But there's this feeling that you have, and maybe at first it's just excitement. It's this air of the unknown. Like, I wonder what would happen if we were together, if I could have her, or if I could be sexual with her. Like, you start having all these thoughts, and you're like, and deep down, I'm like, people just like, their why is because they would make me feel good. They would make me feel good if they were close to me, if I was in their presence, if people saw this person around me, if I were having sexual activity with this person, that would make me feel really good about myself. So I think the attraction is what someone else brings to you. I think it's a little dangerous, because if you go too far, and I like the complementary concept, when two people are coming together, it just makes something better. And that's the purpose. That's the goal. That's the desired outcome, rather than I'm not enough. Insert something that I'm attracted to, and this is going to fill the void. Mm-hmm. I think that's a major mistake that people encounter when they're going through their dating or their marriage or any relationship. They're looking for someone else to complete them, to make them fulfilled and happy. That's a huge burden. It's pressure. That's a burden that you're putting on someone else, and people shy away from that. That's when they think that you're needy. That's when they think that you're weaker. So I think the why for your attraction is really important, because you could be attracted to somebody, and it could just be really superficial about how they make you feel. Right. Or you could be attracted to somebody by the possibility of what you two could be together. Like it's, say I'm attracted to a woman, but I'm thinking like, man, just looking at her inspires me, and maybe there's just something about her face. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll be superficial right now. Maybe there's something about a woman's face that I can just get such pleasure out of, that inspires me in my work, in my life. And it's not that I'm coming from a place of ground zero emotionally or of inspiration, but if I'm at this level of inspiration, man, imagine if I woke up to her every day, and her beautiful voice and her beautiful self, and how sensitive and caring she is. man, there's just something about her energy. Like, I feel like I would be myself happy times three. So I think that's a different way of explaining attraction.
Okay.
And also one thing that I would say is that I think with that concept of attraction as a feeling, attraction is a feeling that is much like a drug. We get addicted to it and we want it, and that's the danger. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you have somebody and if you're not happy, fulfilled, or complete by yourself, it's like a drug addict. You're looking for someone else for that hit to fix you, that fix. And it's so dangerous for a weaker person. So that's why I'm like, man, who do you work on first? You work on yourself first, your number one priority, because if you're not strong and developed, you're gonna be coming from a place of need. So it's not that you don't have tons of dates or girls or men that are asking you out. It's coming that you're a needy person. You're looking for someone else to make you stronger when that's your responsibility.
Right. So, and I've seen you, I've seen your periscopes. You talk about some of this stuff, and I've also seen you talk about it on Instagram, online dating.
Sure.
And online dating has become very popular.
Yeah.
There's people that are on Tinder. What is another one that used to be popular? I mean, I'm pretty sure you're pretty hip to a lot of the other apps.
I mean, like, people are on OkCupid, people are on Match, people are on eHarmony. What's funny is that, because I mean, I try to just know more about, like, all different kinds of dating apps. It's funny, I got on Black People Meet, and yeah, I was like, I love Black people. Not mad at them, but I thought my wife was Black. So I mean, like, I was like, this would be funny anyway. This would be a fun experience. It'd be like, I'll be the exotic guy on Black People Meet. But I got on there and I was like, man, this was really. I'll be honest. Like, if you guys are watching, thinking about, like, should you join Black People Meet? It's a horrible platform. I found it to be really bad. It was generic, old fashioned. It looked bad in every way, and it was not the best. But online dating is here to stay.
Okay, why do you think it's here to stay?
Why not? It's the natural evolution for people. All right, so let's take, what are people most terrified of? For a man, ask him what he's most terrified of as far as with the dating experience. He's terrified of meeting somebody new. He's terrified of rejection. He's got huge fear with that. So what does he love? He's like, you mean like I can sit behind my phone or my computer, protected behind this barrier of my screen, the cyber barrier between myself and possible rejection. Guys love that. So regardless of whatever platform it is, that's one of the hidden motivators behind it. It's like, it's not that people don't have time. People have time and they meet people all the time. Like, I go walk in the park, I can go meet 5 people. But with online dating, like, you throw out that excuse of it's not time. It's like, most people just don't want to do that uncomfortable part of meeting somebody new, because it could crash and burn. You could be like, oh, and that critic within is like, people are watching, people are laughing, people are judging you. And you just feel a whole lot more comfortable when you're at home in your PJs, you're on the couch, and you're just like, here's my phone, swipe, or send somebody a message. Like, there's so much less pressure. You still could get rejected, but I use the expression, or the comparison of to explain how the rejection is different. Of imagine, like, you're walking down the street, or you're at a mall, and as soon as you get out of your car and walking out of the parking lot towards the mall, a homeless person is like, really, you think maybe they've been drinking, and they're like, hey, let me get $5. You're like, maybe sometimes you give and sometimes you don't, but it doesn't matter. But you're like, this guy smells. I just don't want to talk to this guy. He's being kind of aggressive and abrasive. And so you walk by, and you just, maybe you're cordial even. You're like, sorry, I got to go. And he's like, all of a sudden, he just gets really belligerent. And he curses you out and says all sorts of horrible things. And guess what? You go right on along with your day. You're not, like, crying and in tears by the time you get to the mall entrance. You're just like, whatever, and you go on about your day.
Right.
Now, imagine if you're in that same scenario and you're having a conversation with someone you're in a relationship with. That person gets upset with you and calls you the exact same belligerent, aggressive, and abrasive language, curses you out, calls you every name in the book that this guy just did. It stings, right? It stings because you care about what that person thinks about you. You care about their perception of you. And when we're using online dating, you just care less. You're like, you have this air of anonymity where you're thinking like, I only know this person's first name, if that's their first name. They only know this information about me. They don't know where I work, what I'm about. They know a little bit about me. And it's just a whole lot easier to be like, well, if someone isn't interested, then maybe you care a little bit, but I guarantee it's a whole lot less than, when you put yourself out on the line in public and you're like, sorry, I'm not interested. You're not my type. Or why are you talking to me? You just think of all these things. It's so much easier to get the nerve up and to pursue. So I think online dating is a really awesome platform because if it gets more people checking out their opportunities, I think that's where it's at for both men and women, because both men and women use that same excuse of, I just don't know where to meet anybody, or I don't have the time. Total BS, because, it's so easy. It's total BS. You could be sitting on the toilet. I mean, you got time for Facebook, you got time for Instagram, you got time to FaceTime your friends that don't want to FaceTime with you. You got time to watch Game of Thrones and watch your Netflix, and not just watch Netflix. You got time to binge watch a series or anything. You tell them you don't have 3 minutes in your day to just be like, swipe left, swipe right, a couple messages here and there. You do. And I think that's awesome to have that ability to meet so many people. And here's one thing that I'll tell you, just so that, I want your viewers to know this. Everybody's using online dating. All right.
Everybody.
You want to know how many, whoever you think, whatever percentage that anyone thinks about who's using online dating, take that and it's more than double. All right. So young people, attractive people, if you want to call them ugly people, people that are successful with dating, people that are unsuccessful with dating, everybody's on. Higher age groups, I'm seeing higher ages getting involved with these online platforms more and more. It's bursting. It's just, you know what? We're still embarrassed to talk about it. Because I think back to, even times you and I are probably about the same age, but, growing up, like, people, when people were admitting like they were doing online dating, it was kind of like last resort, gasp. Oh my God, this person is using online dating.
That's like the late 1900s.
2000s. Yeah. So I mean, like, for it just had this. It had this. It's associated. It had a negative kind of connotation that if you're like, there's something wrong with you, and there's not. But it's gotten really good. Like, what I hear from women who bash online dating are like, there's nothing on there but like skanks and hoes and I'm like, are you kidding me? There's so many professional women. There's so many people that are about their business, that are looking to meet somebody. There are people that are looking to hook up. There are single people. There are people with kids. There are people who want kids. There's somebody who works at McDonald's and they're CEOs, and it goes for men. We're all over the place too.
Right.
So it's really cool seeing all these people. I just think that most people aren't admitting it. But I go through these profiles. There are all sorts of amazing people online. So when people come to me, they're like, do you even meet anybody that's good online? I'm like, oh yeah, there's amazing people. It's just like, it's like going to the supermarket, like, let's see, I feel like an orange today, an apple. You could choose and pick. And that's online dating. It's like, what do we want? We want to have some choices. And you know what? I think it's really just, let's be honest. Both men and women are initially superficial. All right. Women, you're superficial too. Men were way worse about it. But women, until a guy proves himself, maybe for the first 30, 60 seconds, 5 minutes even, you're judging him on his looks, his appearance, his approach, his shoes, if he's sloppy, if he's clean, if he's ironed. You're judging all these things. If he has a hairdo you like or not, you're judging him. And then afterwards, you know, very quickly, I would say a woman gives a man an opportunity to display his worth in different ways and show it off, and so that she can appreciate it. Um,
Do you think guys cut women off a lot quicker than women?
Cut women off in what way?
As far as like you said that women, they'll look at like how you look, how you dress, the hair, and all that. Men, do you feel that when they look at a woman, like, and they look at her, they just automatically just kind of shut off mentally, like she's not attractive, I don't want to talk to her?
I think it turns on a whole lot faster. I'll say that for sure. I think men are visual, and we go by, you know, here's the thing. I mean, it's proof. Men will be attracted physically first, and then we'll be like, we'll try and figure out the rest later, because physically it works. This is why you see great guys, whether they're athletes, CEOs, accomplished people, or just someone that has great options with women. What are they going to have? They're going to have a wildly attractive woman. But this woman may have rocks for brains. She may not get along with everything, or she just might not be their intellectual equal or relationship equal. But guys will be like, I've never had a girl this hot. I will let some things slide. And for attractive women, will let a whole lot slide. And then eventually you might get to that point, kind of like I was, where I was like, well, this is 5 years of this. Do I want 50 more? And you're like, actually, I kind of need more from a relationship than just the physical, than cooking, than cleaning. Like, anybody can do that. Looks do fade. I kind of would appreciate someone that I can have great conversations with, that I can, you know, like, have this coexistence with, where we're bouncing off of each other. And instead of me just being like, oh, Sandra's like just gym tan laundry girl, you know? She's, you know, like, so simple, but she's so pretty. I think guys will absolutely give way too much credit and then try and work it out later. But I'll tell you this too: the way a woman can portray herself, she can change. You know, if he thinks this be superficial, if a guy thinks a girl is superficially a 6 looks wise, depending on her how she carries herself, she might jump up to an 8 in his mind, just if like she carries herself well. Maybe she stimulates his mind and starts to facilitate him having sexual thoughts and possibilities. Like, whoa, like maybe I missed something at first. But again, the guy's going to be also driven by sex, so that's kind of unfair. He's not always thinking long term and how things work out.
So, and would you agree that when a woman pumps a man up, and it pumps up his ego, it could skyrocket that 6 to probably about a 9?
For pumps up a guy's ego?
Yeah, like
for her. Then she goes from a 6 to a 9.
Right. If you're around a woman and she's pumping your ego, like she's like making you feel really good, but she might not be the best looking woman in the room, but she knows how to pump up your ego.
Okay. I think it's beyond pumping up your ego. I think if she gives, maybe, and let's be honest, maybe not everyone's going to understand the dynamic between you two. All right. So like we're saying this girl is physically a 6, but the guy, you're asking, can he feel that she's a 9 because of how she makes him feel? The answer is yes, but I wouldn't say it's just because she's pumping up his ego. I think it can be the influence that she has upon him. Maybe he appreciates really being understood. Maybe he appreciates someone that challenges him intellectually, spiritually, and in all these different ways that make him actually improve as a person. So they're complementing and something greater is coming from it. That can be legit. I don't think it's very easy for most people to come into, because it really takes a lot of just like, hey, knowledge about myself. Like, hey, you know what? She's not the most attractive woman I've ever dated, but man, do we connect well? We have a great time. We never argue. When we argue, it is healthy. What we talk about makes me better. You know, like she makes me feel manly. I appreciate her femininity. And you know what? If I get it, I guess people are probably going to think that maybe she's not the most physically attractive woman for me, but she makes me happy.
Yeah.
And you have to be really strong to be like, you know what? It balances out that I'm winning and we're doing something. Great example is who's that? The young man that's getting all that criticism. He's Jesse from
Jessica.
He speaks up a lot for the Black Lives Matter. He's on BET.
Jesse Williams.
Jesse Williams. Okay, that's his name. He's caught a lot of flack because he's, considered very physically attractive, and his wife is lesser considered physically attractive. But he's like, I love my wife. She's amazing. And I mean, I don't know too much about the story, but he really pumps her up and is like, man, people need to back off. Like, you're judging me just on my physical choice, but I'm really happy. And it really, I think he's a great example. What is she at home to him? What is she, how do they complement each other? Because from what I understand, she's very accomplished. She's very accomplished and successful, and she's got a great head on her shoulders. I guess I've been told, but I'm looking at her and I'm like, man, well, like she's like crushing all these girls who may be better looking. There's probably a lot of, obviously this guy can get so many women physically who are attractive, but she's more important to him. Why? Because she has something that is beyond physical looks. And it's true. Like if we're smart about it, we realize physical looks fade. What else are we going to have? And that's, we talk about my marriage is like, like physical looks will fade. So let's address like what's going to be left. Do I enjoy hanging out with this person? Do I talk with her? Can I go on vacations with her? Do I want to, be, connected to this person and have them affect me positive or negatively for the rest of my life?
Right.
So
last question.
Sure.
So we've been talking about online dating. There are many people who are online, do online dating, and a lot of them are nervous and afraid about the safety of online dating because there have been stories in the news of people who've gone online and they've met up with some people and things have happened. So Can you educate people about what are some tips, some safety tips that they can utilize?
Sure.
Decide to go online and do online dating?
Yeah. All right. First of all, this is a whole lot of fear-mongering to an extent. Because let's be honest about the situation. If there were no online dating, what have we been doing for a very long time? We've been meeting people in person. We've been going home with people that we've just met that night. That's been going on forever. We've been giving out our private telephone number, our home telephone number to people that we have just met. Hey, I just met you. You seem really cool. Can I have your number? Here's my number. You don't know much about somebody. People have been giving out their numbers after they've spoken to somebody for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, or 5 hours. They've been doing this. And there's a risk in everything. There's no playing it safe and winning at anything. You got to take some risks. It's all about being smart with your risks. But I say, let's not pretend that people haven't been taking risks before. You've given your address to somebody that you've had conversation with a couple times, and you're like, hey, let's go out. Sure, I'll pick you up. What's your address? There you go. That's my address. Pick me up at 9. We've been doing this. All right, so there's always been risk in meeting anybody new. That's the world. But let's not pretend like all of a sudden it became unsafe to meet somebody because they're a stranger. People are strangers when you first meet them. And it's been going on. And there are dangers when people are meeting somebody in person. People get their drinks roofied. People go out and they get drunk. And then they're not at their full mind state to make great decisions. I think with online dating, guess what? You're getting to set the pace. If you're messaging somebody online, number one, you don't have to give them your telephone number if you don't want to or until you're ready. You don't have to give them your address until you want to or are ready. And when you do decide to meet somebody, there are all sorts of precautions that you can take to ensure that you're setting yourself up for success. All right. Disclaimer, or let's get this out of the way. Are there some people that misportray themselves online? Yes, there are. However, it's not as bad as you think. Again, people ask me like, oh, I'm sure everybody on there is fake. No, they're not. There's most people on here are so legit. But if you were to be like, well, I want to make sure that this person is real, this person is who I think they am, and this person isn't like 50 pounds heavier, bald, and not what I was expecting. All right, here's the things that we can do. First, if you want to verify who somebody is, There's all sorts of ways that you can do it. And basically, it's getting them to level up in their investment and getting to know you. So what would you want to do? Precautions you could take as well. There are certain things where you could have a video call with somebody. All right. You can do this without even giving out your phone number. Sure, you could, like with what is it, iPhones, you could FaceTime somebody. You can be like, all right, this person looks exactly like what I was thinking, and they are just as charming or just as cute with their personality as I was expecting, and how they represent themselves in messages. Feel great about that.
Or if you have an Android, you could use Google Hangout.
Yeah, you can use Google Hangouts, and you can, there are different ways where you can video chat, or you can send video messages and just be like, hey, man, send me a message and, say something personal, so that, like, you could text message somebody a video, just like, hey, it's Mario. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you, and let's go, when we go get that coffee, whatever. But all you're doing is basically saying, here's my voice, here's my face, here's my personality, and it all matches up with who is on the profile, who you've been interacting with. So you could Skype with somebody. That's free. You can even make up anonymous profiles on Skype, on the Google Hangouts, the WhatsApp. You can do an anonymous profile on Kik, which is just like text messaging, except you just set up a profile and make up a name. So there's all these different ways where you can text message without even giving out your private number. And then, you want to just protect yourself and put yourself in a smart situation. What I would suggest is, look out for number one first. And you can absolutely meet somebody instead of having them meet you at your place of residence. All right. And you know what? It's kind of a sign of the times now. That first meeting is like, hey, I'll meet you here. And you don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to come from this place where, like, as a guy, I'm downplaying chivalry and just like, meet me here because I'm not picking you up. It's more of a place of acknowledging, like, okay, well, we're doing online dating, and I'm by being considerate, I'm probably thinking, well, to make her feel more comfortable is most important. So I'll bet maybe to make her more comfortable, we put her in a safe place where she can let her guard down, because safety is not an issue. So, hey, suggest some place in public. Suggest some place where you two can meet in the middle publicly, and that, also, she doesn't feel this responsibility, or you don't feel this responsibility of if things go well or poorly, that guess what? Now I have to drive you home. So ladies, on your end, what you can do is, if he doesn't suggest it, be the one to be like, hey, let's meet up somewhere, instead of telling the guy your address and him picking you up the first time. So you can get there, and you might do that after you meet somebody the first time. That's fine. That speed of progressing with how you meet somebody is up to you. But you can easily meet them out, and you can also, say you did make that call of, yeah, I'm gonna let this guy pick me up. Okay, well, bring your purse and bring your money and your card, so that if you want to call an Uber and go home, you can do it on your own. If the date tanks, you got your own ride, and you can just be like, it's not really what I've been feeling, so I'm just gonna call it and head home. That's a whole lot better than feeling like, oh man, I've got to sit through this, and it's uncomfortable, and I'm unhappy, I'm resenting being here against my will because I'm just being polite. I think that's a better approach. So whenever you're meeting somebody, like, just take precautions, and you can play it up. You don't have to give out your number initially. Take it at your own pace. And the public meeting is a big deal. Yeah. You can move into private dating, or as far as like guys pick you up at a certain location at your house or whatever. You can progress up to that when you're ready. And you know what? Guys totally understand and respect the meeting in public thing, or they should. I bet there are guys out there that don't get it. They're like, I'm supposed to pick you up. Think like a woman does, man. Think about making her comfortable. If a woman is comfortable, she's going to be able to relax and open up. And that's what you're trying to have. So who cares how she got there? It doesn't take anything away from you as a man if you didn't drive her. And you're not responsible for that. There are all sorts of different ways. Make a woman feel safe, make her feel comfortable, and you'll get much better results. And ladies, take charge of your safety. But it's no different than, and any of the risks that we have with other guys. Could this guy be a creep? Sure. Could that girl be crazy? Sure. Could somebody, but when we meet somebody in public, guarantee you, well, you're married, right? You're married.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so let's take you in your single days. Back then, man, you didn't think twice about like, oh man, like what if this person's an axe murderer and I gave her my number? Like you just thought she was attractive, she seemed cool. I asked for her number and we exchanged numbers. And like we didn't, you can't possibly think the worst all the time.
Right.
That's something where you should have some level of judgment and intuition about a female, about a man, whether you can trust them. And if not, you don't give them your number. And if not, you don't, you don't interact with them, or you don't escalate the interaction as far as, giving up your privacy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know where you work. Like if people ask, where do you work? Downtown. What do you do? I'm in finance. Like you don't have to tell them I work at this bank and I do this. Like, pause, slow it down. Keep your private life private. They don't need to know where you work, where you live, where you hang out all the time. Take it slow. Give people the more that they deserve and earn.
That's awesome. Mario has been awesome. My man has been killing the game, doing this for years. Definitely want to check him out on www.getganggroup.com. That is www.getganggroup.com. Check him out. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's doing some big things over there. He's been doing relationship building for years. And he's very accomplished. So he doesn't just come with a relationship background. He's got an education background too. So he can probably school you on what you could be doing with your education as well while getting yourself ready for your relationship. Yeah. So Mario, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Guys. We'll see you later.